The season is over, and it's time for our, I guess you could call it season finale.
Yes.
A quick
Season
look
finale.
back, at our original episode, our predictions we made. But first, let's talk about what happened the past week, the Super Bowl. Uh, Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. That was.
Boo.
We can say what we want, but it was a good game.
Yeah. It was a good game. I have no lies. But, like we already expressed ourselves, more to say, we expressed our feelings towards this particular Super Bowl because we absolutely cannot stand the Chiefs, but we will talk about that later. So carry on.
It's not so much that we can't stand them, it's that let
I
somebody
can't
else
really
win.
stand them.
Like, please.
No, the honesty. I love it.
Paulo and Chris, the
Yeah.
professional haters.
Nah, not at all. Chris on a whole other level, but
Yeah, no, that's fair.
the Chiefs are
That is a whole
rightfully
nother
hated.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. I don't know if the word hated is the right word, maybe per se. I really don't. I don't think it's hated, but I think it's like a strong just dislikement for them because it's starting to turn into
A
what the Patriots
distaste.
used to be with Brady. I think, yeah, distaste is
Yeah.
a better word. I mean, because you gotta, it's like, here we go, another dynasty, after
we
Brady and the
go.
Patriots.
Here we go.
It's like, but it's hard, hard to also hate them when 15 other teams in the AFC and then 16 in the NFC have the ability to do the same thing. Like, it is what it is, but it is starting to get to that point that it's very, very possible, maybe next year, for hating them if they win again, if they can pull off a three-peat.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
that happens, yeah, it's gonna be full on hate. Like,
Yeah, at that
Yeah.
point.
Mhm. It's
did
like
the Patriots even do 3 in a row? I know they
No,
did
the
two.
Patriots never did two. They
I
did
thought
two
they
No.
at once.
one's
It was
ever
like oh
done.
03, yeah. 03, 04, they did a two-peat, but that was it.
Yeah, no one's done a 3.
Mm-mm. The chance they did have to do a three, it was the Giants. I think the Giants broke that up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the 9 and
Eli
7
Manning.
Giants.
Yep.
It's
And there's only, as we saw, none of the other big quarterbacks in the AFC could do it. There's only one man who has consistently beaten the Chiefs, except for like once. Joe Burrow, please save us next season. Please.
yeah.
Please, please.
You better
save
hope he
us.
stay healthy.
But both teams played really well. The 49ers defense, I think, just kind of fell apart in the second half, and that's what let the Chiefs just have their way with them in the end. Because let's be honest, that
Yeah.
last bit of the game, the Chiefs could have scored a touchdown if they wanted, but they played it safe and sent it to overtime. There was
Now
nothing stopping them if they really wanted to go for it.
Yeah, like the Chiefs, I could talk. I think it was like maybe early to mid third quarter, I started to notice a change in the Chiefs' attack on offense. And I'm like, ooh, I think the Chiefs are starting to wake up. Here they come. Wouldn't surprise me if they turned this into a game all of a sudden. And guess what they did? They turned into a game, and not just any kind of game, a game where we witnessed our second overtime Super Bowl game. And yes, this was literally the second overtime to occur in a Super Bowl matchup. There's only been one other, and we all know a beloved matchup that I roast Falcon fans over.
Let
But
them breathe, Chris. Jeez.
nah, they deserve it. They deserve it. No, I play.
Ugh.
But anyway, so it was a fascinating and entertaining matchup towards the end, and I'm not gonna lie, it was thrilling. Did I figure the Chiefs would come back and win it? Yeah, I called it in the previous episode we
Me and
made.
you both did.
Yeah,
We
literally,
both said
like
the Chiefs were gonna win it.
I know. It's crazy how y'all keep picking teams that y'all don't want to win and then try to complain after you manifested their victory.
I said it.
Get
I
out of
said
here.
it. I said it in the last episode. I don't want the Chiefs to win, but I think they're going to. I don't think the 49ers have what it takes.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I agree with Paulo because when y'all do this, just like the Super Bowl, y'all harp on it how correct y'all were. Like y'all are just so excited about how right you were that you got the pick correct instead of still
I
just
know, y'all just
sticking with it. Like,
manifested
yeah, yeah.
bringing us all
I'm-
down with you just so y'all can be right.
I
I
would
agree.
say
I
I'm just
agree
saying.
100% with Paulo.
I'm just saying. And I said it at the end of the last podcast we did, that I want the 49ers to win. I just didn't think it was going to happen. Based on what I've seen from the Chiefs the past couple games they played, I didn't think it was going to happen.
That's why
Yeah,
it
me
didn't
neither.
happen. Y'all didn't believe. Brock Purdy is like Tinkerbell, and you didn't believe in him, so he died.
Oh, jeez.
Apparently, you didn't believe either.
I did. That's why he was in there for the first half.
Yeah.
Where were y'all?
Brock Purdy is like Santa
Lies.
Claus. You have to
Lies.
believe for his sleigh to fly
You have to.
as an elf, but y'all did not. Y'all did not believe that he could win.
Ugh.
Me and Paulo cannot carry this team on our back.
No, we must be united.
Well, we can't be
God.
united if we don't agree.
God. All right.
Anyway,
Well, with that out of the way, let's see here. I got my notes from our first episode. Our our picks we made for the divisions here, and as we did in that episode, we're gonna start with the AFC here.
Before we get off into that, I just want to send out our condolences and everything
Yes.
to
yes.
those that were involved in the shooting of the KC Super Bowl parade. I know a lot of praise has been given to a lot of the players for sheltering kids like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a few of the linemen and defensive linemen. So condolences out to those who were involved and injured over the past week.
Yeah. Do we still not know the motive? Because I haven't seen
Uh,
anything about it yet.
I haven't
So-
seen any update yet either.
Actually, I have. I saw this during my lunch break. So apparently the dispute occurred between the three suspects at hand, which two of them have been fully charged and arrested for. Apparently, they were getting into a dispute with some people. What was the dispute over? I have no clue. They did not clarify on what it was about, but apparently they got into a heated dispute, and that's when guns started blaring about. And unfortunately, some people were caught in the line of fire. But but I did see a video on NFL memes, and yeah, I know it's probably not the best
What the?
source to say this, but there was this picture, the video. Someone caught a video footage of some Chiefs fans tackling the gunmen who were trying to run away from this.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, it was actually kind of funny at the same time. Like, yes, get him, get him. So, and they gang piled up on him, and they held him down till the cops showed up, and that's when they took him away. So,
Yeah.
bravo to those people out there. I think they deserve Super Bowl rings.
I believe the total number for injuries is now around the low 20s, like 22, something like that. I could be wrong. And I believe there has been one death so far, sadly.
Yeah,
But-
sadly, I think it was a teacher, I believe, that was shot and killed at the scene.
She
Really
was, I think, a DJ for the local radio.
okay,
if I'm
DJ.
right.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
Those are two very different things.
Yeah.
yeah. I was way off on that, but I knew it was a lady that got shot. But
But it's still a sad situation to see a day that was supposed to be, a happy occasion for those people.
Yeah.
yeah, our thoughts and prayers go out to those families who were affected.
And the kids who have been traumatized by it
Yes.
because they were there to see their favorite players celebrate.
Instead, they witnessed a nightmare.
Yeah. But
Mm.
on that note, let's compare our early season predictions here that were a mixed bag, honestly.
Yeah, we had some right and some wrong. I
Some
would say
very
maybe
wrong.
more wrong. Yeah, very wrong. We'll touch up on that in a minute.
Yeah. Let's start with AFC as we did in that episode. First up, AFC North. Uh, that one is one we got right. We said it was going to be between the Ravens and Bengals, and shocker, the
Well,
Ravens got it.
Yeah. The
Here's
Bengals
what
didn't really come that close.
Only because of the injuries they sustained throughout the year. They had a rough start, and just when they started to find their footing, Burrow's gone for the season.
Yeah, and I mean, let's
Yeah.
not harp on him too much. I mean, Jake Browning did pretty well, in his debuts for Cincinnati, when he did get his time to shine. So I mean, they did what they could, like you said, with what they had. Jamar hurt, Joe Mixon was out for a bit, then Burrow
Higgins,
out. So
Yeah,
Higgins, I
Higgins was
mean,
out for a while.
yeah, they dealt
so
with
I
a lot
mean,
of
yeah,
injuries throughout the year.
for what they dealt with, they still won some games that they probably should have lost.
Yeah,
Like
they
in
still,
all
I
reality,
believe they were they like right at 500 or
they were
just
in the
below?
they were right at it. I think it
Yeah.
was. They were in the wild card race for a while, and then just couldn't finish off too strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, just too many injuries for the Bengals to overcome. But they did fight hard, and they did not give up without a fight. That's for sure.
Ugh.
One, and as for the teams in last place, I'll take this from here. We predicted that either the Browns or the Steelers would finish last. Well, we got the Steelers right. Browns, not so much.
No, we didn't get the Steelers right.
We didn't?
The
They
Bengals
didn't come
finished
in
last.
last.
Wait, who finished last then?
The
The
Bengals
Bengals.
Oh,
by like 1 or 2 games.
Yep.
well, let me take back what I said. We got neither of those right.
I think I thought that the Browns would come in last. Just because I thought the Steelers would be able to build on last year, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, you said just that basically. But instead, the Browns end up having a really good season, having one of the better defenses in the AFC and all the NFL altogether. And their offense, while it had its struggles early on, started to kind of like pick up the pace a little bit towards the end of the season, especially under Joe Flacco. But granted, the Browns also sustained a lot of injuries, mainly at quarterback, which is why you're hearing Joe Flacco's name come out of my mouth as we speak. So,
But despite all
but
those injuries, still made it to the playoffs.
exactly. And of course, they fell short to yours truly, the Texans. So, which I'm sure Will is very happy about that. So,
Well,
but anyway,
that
moving
takes
on.
care of the North. Let's go to the East here, which I believe in that podcast we said that that was going to be one of the more competitive divisions for the NFL. To an extent, we were right, but we thought it was going to be between the Bills and Jets for first place. My God, we got the Bills, but oh,
Oh boy,
the
the
Jets.
Jets. Now, in the Jets' defense, they lost Aaron Rodgers 4 plays into their first game of the season.
Yeah, we were
So,
counting when we were making those predictions. We were counting on Rodgers having
Yeah,
at least
but
most of the season
we
with
couldn't
them.
have predicted that. That was like,
right.
No,
there's no
that
way we
came
could have
out of-
predicted that man dying 3 plays in.
Literally, like that came out of left field. I'm like, oh, there goes the Jets season, and sure enough, the Jets season went downhill. Now they had some games where they put up a good fight, and their defense has been pretty good this season, but it's just not good enough when you have an absolutely mediocre offense, especially being in command of either um, Zach something. What's his name again?
Wilson, Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, thank you. Zach Wilson or that other guy. I can't remember his name. But
I
anyway,
think Trevor Simeon was there
yeah.
this year.
Like clearly neither of those two quarterbacks for the Jets are obviously good enough or capable enough to keep the Jets afloat, and it showed sadly this season. So
Didn't they have what's his name, Boyle as well? I think at quarterback.
Tim
at one point?
Boyle, I think, may
I
have
think
played like
so.
half a game.
But yeah,
But yeah, with that being said, we were way off on the Jets, but of course we didn't expect a season-ending injury to happen 4 plays into one game,
Yeah.
which happened to be
Yeah.
the
One
start
thing
of the
though
season.
we did get right for the AFC East. The Patriots were dead last.
Oh yeah, we were
Mhm.
absolutely correct about the Patriots.
Oh yeah,
They were worse than last year. They're
Yeah.
just terrible.
way
Mac
worse,
Jones, you're a bum.
big time.
Yeah.
And we were as I rewatched that first episode, we were discussing how Mac Jones could either have another bad year or just randomly shoots out of a cannon and has a good year. Nah, he never left the cannon, folks. He just stayed where he was or just rotted
No,
inside the cannon.
the ignition was a dud. It blew up. He
Yeah.
just stayed in it. He went down with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I can't remember
boy.
if I said this or not, but at the beginning of the season I felt like the Dolphins could compete for the #1 spot if Tua stayed healthy. And honestly, like they should have had that #1 spot.
They should have.
Like they let the Bills take it back. They absolutely
See-
just gave it away at the second half of the season.
Facts. The problem is, excuse me, let me start over. The problem with the Dolphins I noticed this season is that they play really good against bad teams, but for the life of them, they just could not beat a good team to save their life. And most of their losses came from good teams. Now, of course, you're going to take losses from good teams, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you got to play up to their level as you're supposedly a good team. And the Dolphins just could not get it done. So, and they end up being second place, I believe, in this division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, second place. So, oh well, better luck next time, Dolphins.
Yeah. Let's move on to the AFC South, where things were wild this year. I
Oh
think,
man,
if I remember correctly, this one was the most competitive division, where
it
the
was
first place was decided in the last 2 weeks.
literally. And the one thing that we all were wrong about were the Indianapolis Colts finishing last.
Yeah,
They
we
did
all
not finish
thought they were going to
last.
finish last, and
Yeah.
it was surprising. We in that episode, I believe, we also were kind of talking down on Anthony Richardson, who surprised us and was actually a pretty good quarterback for the brief time he was there
Yeah,
before his
but the poor
injury.
lad couldn't stay healthy.
The Colts, I
So,
think, are going to
but-
be a much better team next year. They're going to
Oh, yes.
compete in that division.
I mean,
Most
if he can stay
likely.
healthy next year.
Yeah,
But
true.
yeah, a lot of the stuff that was coming out about him before the season began was like reports that he just wasn't as polished as the other quarterbacks in the draft and stuff. Like his mechanics weren't there or something. And also he didn't play preseason too, right? He just
Oh,
sat,
yeah,
so he
Uh,
didn't have
preseason,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember we were talking about that. But yeah, he came out there and then week 1 he looked good. And the Colts could have made the playoffs this year if he would have stayed healthy.
Yeah.
And it's amazing they were as close as they were with the majority of the season with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, like they stayed pretty well intact in most of the games that Gardner Minshew was quarterback in. So kudos to them. But unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. And the one game that they really needed to win, which ironically were against the Texans, which we'll talk about in a minute, they had a chance to win it, and they threw it away, literally. So,
Yeah.
but speaking about the Texans, we all, I believe, predicted the Texans to maybe finish second, possibly third.
We said,
Because we weren't
and this is our direct quote. We said we don't think they're winning the division. They're going to do better than they did last year, but they're not winning the division. That is what we said.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in that respect we were correct. Me personally, I didn't think they were making the playoffs this year, to be honest.
Honestly, I didn't think so either, but man, were we wrong.
I just have to ask something here. Will, after watching back through that, or listening to it, I should say, you said that you didn't know how everything was going to go with, Tank Dell being a rookie, CJ Stroud being a rookie, new head coach and everything. How you feel after that season?
I mean, I think I feel like pretty damn good about it. I mean, like you said, rookie quarterback, rookie receivers, rookie defensive end, who, by the way, won defensive rookie of the year.
Yes, sir.
Quarterback who
Congrats.
wins offensive rookie of the year. Your head coach who got cheated. I'm going to say it. Stefanski didn't deserve that award. That's just me, though. And offensive coordinator. So you have major roles on a team that are first timers, that are rookies, and they do that. So, I mean, what else could you be except excited, happy? Like, it's been 4 years since they've been in the playoffs, right? And then they do it with a rookie class like they had, and not even strong wide receiver ones or running back RB ones. Like, I mean, I wouldn't call them an island of misfits by any means, but definitely like mid-grade players to start the season, and they were able to do what they did. So, I mean, there's so much potential for this group within the next 5 years, especially with those three being on rookie contracts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna push
Yeah.
back. I think Stefanski did deserve that
Yeah.
award.
Oh no.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he got
Fight,
the
think
Browns
so.
to the
fight.
playoffs. He got the Browns to the playoffs without his future Hall of Fame running back, and with 4 different quarterbacks.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that comes down to Stefanski, honestly. I don't, because out of the 4 quarterbacks, the best one was Flacco. Like
Okay,
Julian
well,
Thompson,
I mean,
like PJ Walker, Deshaun Watson, like his best was Flacco. But I don't think that has anything to do with Stefanski. I mean, we saw how Flacco played when he was in the NFL consistently. So is that really
Yeah,
a
but you know-
Stefanski thing, or is that a player thing?
it's definitely both, because every time you get a new quarterback, like different quarterbacks need different schemes, different things they're comfortable with, different style of play.
I think no, not with Flacco, not with a veteran like that of 10 plus years.
I think it's a very
Oh,
close
come on, you
race
saw
there.
Flacco last year.
No, I
You know
didn't.
you
He was on the
couldn't pull it.
couch.
No, he was on the Jets. Or was that 2
No, he
years
wasn't.
ago?
But
That was 2 years
2
ago.
years ago?
Sit down.
Okay, 2
Sit
years
down.
ago, you
Sit down.
okay,
Don't
2
come at
years
me.
ago, 2 years ago,
The
he was
Jets are the
younger.
Jets. The
Younger.
Jets who had nothing.
Okay, so that
They had
kind
no
of proves the point a little bit. You couldn't just
team
plug
who had-
Flacco into any team and have him play that good. It definitely has to do with scheme and coaching. Because
No,
we've
I
seen him
think-
not be on the Browns and suck.
We've seen, yeah. I
think
still
it's
don't
a-
think Stefanski
I think
wins
it's a
that, though.
close race
I
between the
think he
two.
is cheating because they were literally even in votes. They were neck and neck in votes, and they just gave it to Stefanski.
Because he deserved it more. That's
Nope,
why.
not
Okay,
even
moving on.
close.
God.
Not
Moving
even.
on.
I think
Moving
D'Amico deserved it
on.
more. I mean, you took a team who was absolutely nothing in the last 3 years with all these rookies, with mid-tier people at all positions, and went that far and beat the Browns with Stefanski to move on in the playoffs. So get out of here with that nonsense.
Okay, well, it's not
Get
based
out,
on the
coach.
playoffs, for one.
Get out,
And number
coach.
two, how do
If
you
he
know
was
it's not
such a
just
great
all CJ
coach,
Stroud?
if it was
Oh,
such a
God.
great coach, how
Okay,
did they
it's
get
just all
up
CJ
by
Stroud
30
on the
points?
Houston Texans then. What did
I'm just-
D'Amico really do?
Right,
No,
because
no,
CJ
Stroud
Stroud
plays
Hold on,
defense.
No. Let's pull the footage of D'Amico Ryans telling Christian Harrison where to play on the field that led to a pick six that very play. I'm just saying, but we're just gonna ignore that, right? Let's go ahead and pull the footage of, hey, wait right here, that's where he's throwing the ball, throws ball, pick six. I'm just saying though. But you're right, it comes down to that. Not the coach at all. Get out of here.
It do.
Get out of here with your
Good
nonsense.
God.
Get out of here.
Moving on.
Yes, let's move
Let's
on,
talk
folks.
about real quick before we move on to the next division. We originally picked the Jaguars to win the AFC South, and
Uh,
that was what the heck happened to them?
I don't
It's
know.
just not who they say that he is. They are not who they say he is.
I guess not. And I remember saying that I was low key rooting for the Jags to win the division because I found the Jags exciting. They did not excite me one bit. They were actually kind of pathetic.
But let's also point out that Calvin Ridley definitely did not have the season he was predicted to have by anybody.
No, he
Definitely
he
come
had
up short.
he had like a mid to okay season, but it's not like mind blowing, amazing or anything like that.
No.
So,
Granted, they did
Jags-
deal with some injuries throughout the year, but still, like, they had the pieces there. They should have, on paper at least, been a good team.
Yeah, but I guess the
I
Jags still
mean,
have a
did
little more work
they
to go.
did they have the pieces there though? Because Christian Kirk was out for most of the year, and Zay Jones was out for most of the year, and that's your number 2 and 3 right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing they had going
Wait.
for him all season was
No,
ETN.
Zay Jones didn't go out until the later half of the year.
He was out at the beginning of the year as well.
I don't
Yeah, he
remember.
was.
I don't remember how
That's
long
because
that was.
I had Zay Jones for fantasy for a minute.
But still,
And I,
they had a pretty good running back in the backfield. Lawrence, and even though, they had injuries at receiver, they rotated out with all these different ones who have performed week to week. I don't know, man.
Who else? At
What?
receiver
You just said.
besides Calvin Ridley.
You
You
just.
talking about the injured ones that came back?
I'm saying they kind of rotated them out. Like when one got hurt, the other one was ready to come back. Is essentially what it was.
Okay.
oh
But
no,
It's
the
weird.
Jags-
Like they put up a fight for some of these teams in the first bit of the year. Like they put up a fight against KC, but I don't know what
Yeah.
happened to them.
they just slowly and surely fell apart, and I'm still trying to figure how. I mean, I know injuries played a factor, but it's not like they suffered significant injuries. But I don't know. Maybe they just weren't as good as we thought they were after. And I thought they'd be really good this year, especially after that playoff run they went on last season. But apparently not. I guess they still have some issues to work on. So, oh well. Tough luck, Jags.
Well, let's move on to the last division for the AFC here. And to no one's surprise, we got this one right. Winner of the AFC West was the Chiefs, your Super Bowl champs.
Mhm.
Where we went wrong was the last place for the division. We thought it was going to be the Broncos, and surprisingly, the Broncos didn't do terrible this year. However, the
they-
team that did was the Chargers.
I feel so bad for the Chargers, man. Justin
Yeah.
Herbert's a good quarterback, and just
Yeah.
they've done nothing for him in the past few years.
Yeah. And it's not, and let's be like more specific, like the O line. Like let's address the O line because I mean he has Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett. Like he has the weapons, and it's not they haven't done anything for him. It just specifically the O line in itself is just what has caused him injury and just terrible season. Is that because even with he went out and their backup was in, it was still an atrocity. So
Yeah.
it's that.
Well, the organization, like on offense, like he has weapons, but yeah, O-line, the defense just doesn't have the personnel or isn't
No.
properly coached, and then the organization has done him no favors because he's had Brandon Staley for the past few years,
Yep.
who never
Not
should have been their
anymore.
head coach. Yeah,
Be
not
gone.
anymore. I'm expecting some big turnarounds for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they better hope so because as I rewatched first episode, I said that the Chiefs' closest competitor were the Chargers. Oh
Not
man, was I
anymore.
way off?
Yeah, they should have
Yeah,
been.
not
They
anymore.
just weren't.
Yeah, they were nowhere close.
Yeah, in all honesty, the closest competitor they had this season was the Broncos, which
Yeah.
Congratulations to them for not being terrible.
Yeah, and they were about to be terrible because they started off the season 1-6, I believe, including the biggest blowout I've ever witnessed in my NFL fan life. That the Miami Dolphins gave them. That
Yeah, and then
70
I think
burger
we
Whopper.
witnessed the second biggest one like not too long after with the Chargers and Raiders.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one. So yeah, but kudos to the Broncos and kudos to Sean Payton, as much as my petty self wants to admit it. But
Quit hating.
yeah, I know. But good job, Sean Payton. You still got it in you. I wish you were still my coach, but that's a different subject.
We dare not mention his name in this episode, Chris.
No,
Oh,
we will not.
no.
Never. Never.
But
Anyway.
that's everything for the AFC. I do want to point out here, and I'm not saying I like predicted this. It's a coincidence that I said this. I think when we were talking about the AFC East, I apparently in the first episode said I thought the Bills were going to win the division and the Dolphins would end up a wild card. I was right about that somehow.
I don't know how you were
Well,
right
if the
about
Bills
that.
won the division, then the Dolphins would have to be a wild card.
Paulo,
'Cause they weren't gonna miss.
other
they weren't
people
gonna miss
could
the
have.
playoffs.
They could have. We don't know.
Nah.
Well, the
We
AFC
knew.
was incredibly
Nah.
competitive this year, so any of those teams could have gotten in Miami's place if Miami started losing more, of course. But
But let's move on to the NFC here with the first one being the NFC East. Oddly enough, do we count this as like the other ones we've said like it should be this team or this team? You know, it's been like a game or two. I'm pretty sure this one was an even split for first place. It was we predicted either Dallas or the Eagles were going to win the division. It ended up being Dallas, I think, but only because
yeah,
they had the better record against NFC teams.
yeah, yeah, we pretty much got that.
An
su-
even record for the two.
Yeah, it was close, and honestly, it could have gone either way, but they gave the division to Dallas anyway. I think due to tiebreaker scenarios, and honestly, Dallas was definitely the better team compared to Philadelphia, who slowly and surely self-destructed towards the end of the season. They may
Frauds.
not. Yeah. So, but all in all, the Cowboys looked legit, and I thought, okay, maybe they could possibly make a run, but then fate would have it that a certain team from Green Bay would pull up the upset that honestly I don't think any of us saw coming
Well,
except
you
for
did.
me.
See, that was your fatal flaw. Is you looked at regular season Dallas and thought it's the same as playoff Dallas, which is not.
Yeah. I know. but overall, we pretty much got this one correct. And I think, did we say that the Commanders would finish last, or which one did we choose?
We thought it would be between the Commanders and the Giants. The Commanders are the ones that ended up coming in last place. The Giants did a little better than we expected, I guess, with their injuries, but still ended up with third.
Now let me talk about the Giants real quick, since
You
we're on
talking
that
about the
subject.
dark horse to win the division, Chris?
Yes. I will own up to my mistake of picking them as the dark horse, because I just thought with the trends, which were all wrong and full of lies.
Daniel Jones is not the man we thought he was.
He was no.
Who
He is
did we
never
think he
the man.
was?
Well, I guess I
don't
should
know
say
what you're
who
talking
they
about.
thought he was, because they
Yeah,
paid
yeah,
that man a
that's
lot.
better.
Let's say we didn't
Like-
think he was anybody.
So in the beginning of this season, I picked the Giants to be the dark horse to win the NFC East because I thought they had a good season the year before and they were on the rise. Instead, they went backwards, and they went backwards hard. Now, granted, they did pick themselves up a little bit towards the end of the season, and they played a little bit better, but it was all too little too late. And let me tell you, the Giants were getting clapped around, spanked, butchered, turned into mincemeat. Oh man, it was slaughter, and they got killed by the Cowboys not once but twice by 40+ points. Ouch. Yeah, so much
Yeah.
for that dark horse prediction.
After
So,
game 1, when they got smacked by the Cowboys, I thought to myself, it's week 1. I'm taking it with a grain of salt. But after week 2, like they did bounce back and beat Arizona week 2, I believe.
yeah,
But even still, like it wasn't inspiring. Like the second half of that game, they looked good, but then you got another third game and it was gone again, and that's that's where the hope was gone.
Yeah, everything went downhill after that. And yeah, once again, the Giants could not beat the Eagles. They didn't get close. But wait, actually, no, I take that back. They did beat them in the last game of the season. I forgot about that. But
Yeah, when they rested all the starters.
yeah, but do we really want to count that? I don't think
No.
so. So
No, not really.
yeah, no. So honestly, though, the Giants they disappointed big time, and it made me look incredibly stupid. Screw you, Giants.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got that division right for the most part, and we also got. I think we nailed the next one here, the NFC West. We predicted the Niners. It was the Niners, to no one's surprise. And
Yep.
as we thought, Cardinals took last place in that division.
I will say, I thought the Seahawks would come in second, and I believe they got third, right? Because the Rams made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, we got the important parts right, but I thought the Seahawks would have been a wild card in the playoffs instead of a.
The Seahawks do
Especially
show
after
promise,
the
though.
season. Well, especially after the season they had last year. Like you figured they would continue it, if not get better for sure.
Yeah.
But
And
we
props
to
pretty
the
much
Rams.
nailed it, though, for this division.
Yeah. Where did we
How
have the
quickly-
Rams finishing?
I don't think we
Third, I
said.
think.
Yeah,
Well, if the
third.
Cardinals were last, then they would have had to been third.
Yeah, and I think they surprised everybody with the season they had.
Yeah,
Like it
especially
looked like it almost looked like their Super Bowl season. Like if that defense would have been slightly better with some more help,
Yep.
like they'd have been so much more of a contender.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It looks like
and the
they're back
rise
on
of
the
Puka
rise.
Nacua.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say some of that's just good management though. To
Oh yeah.
see Puka's
Mhm.
potential and draft him, like that's not
Yeah, I
even
want to
good
know.
like
I
coaching or
want to
anything.
know.
That's just good
Yeah, I
GM.
want to know in whose organization made that decision. I don't know if it was the GM. I want to know who brought that forward. And I know the GM's going to take credit, but I really want to know who sought that out and was like, hey, this kid right here could be the next Cup.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially
I
considering
really
you
want to
didn't hear
know.
about him at all before the season began.
No.
You heard about some other rookies, but not him.
Mm-mm.
Surprising.
Yeah, so that was a nice surprise in that division. So, and I give props to the Rams for doing so. But anyway,
On to the NFC North, where we said the winner was going to be between the Lions and Vikings. We got the Lions right, but oh, the Vikings.
oh man, the Vikings,
the
those poor
pain
souls.
that they went through.
Whew. Like
Yeah.
it started off with just bad defense,
Mhm.
and then they started winning a couple more games, and I thought, okay, they're coming back. Then Kirk Cousins gets hurt, and like, oh,
Gone
there
for the
goes your
season.
season.
No.
Rip Big
And
Kirk.
then and then their backup, who they got from Arizona,
Dobbs.
Dobbs.
yeah, Josh Dobbs. He started off good, but then he started to show his true colors, and things fell apart after that. So then it was just a constant back and forth between starting Josh Dobbs and the third backup.
Nick Mullins.
Yeah, and that was just pretty much the Vikings' downfall. Is that they just could not recover, even with their really good offensive weapons in Justin Jefferson, Madison,
Addison.
I think.
Addison
thank you.
and Madison.
Madison and
and
Madison.
Oh, yeah.
Hawkinson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson.
all those great weapons, and they just could not do anything with it because of bad quarterback play, sadly. So, and their defense did not do them any favors. So
Their defense
it
did
was,
get a little bit better as the season went on, but it needs some more adjustment.
Well, they lost key defensive players as well. They lost like Daniel Hunter, Jordan Hicks, and then that's two major components. Like Hunter is on the free agent market this year, and Hicks was out as well. They both were. So like that is when you lose two middle linebackers like that in the middle of that defense, that's so massive. And we saw it with the 49ers in the Super Bowl when Fred Warner went out. Like his replacement allowed 6 catches and that touchdown to Valdez Scantling. Like when you lose key components, it just shows like how bad that hurts the team.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah.
I want to point out
Yeah,
something though. When it comes to like the like picks we made for this division, me, Chris, and Will are the ones that agreed it would be Lions and Vikings. Paulo wanted to be different.
I did want to be different.
Paulo
I thought the
said
Bears were a
you
legit
said
dark horse
Vikings
to win
and
that division.
Bears. It was going to be between
All right.
Vikings and Bears.
So
Did I
I'm
say
gonna
Vikings
step
and
up.
Bears?
Mhm.
I didn't say Lions.
Nope,
Yeah.
you said
No,
Vikings
you
and
did not
Bears.
say Lions.
Since Chris owned
Interesting.
up to his disgusting dark horse,
Will was
it's
with
mine
me
and
on this. I don't
Paulo's.
want to hear
Yeah,
it.
it was mine and Paulo's turn. We both
Yes.
agreed based on what the Bears did last year, what they did in the offseason this year. Like they had full potential to be a dark horse and build on around Justin Fields. Not the case. Not the case at
Trash.
all. Just
Absolute
absolute
garbage.
Yeah.
atrocity.
They
And that's
showed
on us.
signs that they can be good, but they need more work.
Yeah.
I
They
really
needed a lot of help.
did like all
Yeah.
of their
Oh,
off-season
I
additions,
did
and to
too.
be
I thought
honest, individually
insane.
they performed well. Like DJ Moore
Yeah.
and their defensive guys, like they
Yeah.
individually performed well. It just didn't translate to wins.
No, like everyone, like for some reason, like like per player statistically looked good, but it didn't just correlate to the team though. Like individual statistics look good, but not as a whole. Like it's just so weird to see. Like how do you do well individually, but you like as a team you just do not put it together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but we'll see what happens with Fields. I mean, it's do you trade him? Do you keep him and build around him with some of these rookie receivers? Like
I
you have
think you
two options
gotta.
here.
I
It's like
think you
which one do
gotta
you
keep
really
him
go
another
with?
year, right? Because
Yeah,
everyone's talking Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams. I think he's gonna be overrated. I really do.
I think
Yep.
so
well,
too.
I agree with you. I'm just so concerned about like how hard they are harping on Caleb Williams. And I don't want to use him as a comparison to Bryce Young, but I mean, let's look at Bryce Young in this season. Like, God, they hopped on him so hard, and they went what?
We'll get to
2
that
and
in a minute here, Will.
I'm just saying. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. Like, I don't like. I'm very concerned. Like, they harped on Bryce Young so hard, and he had the season he had. Like, man, is that going to be the same issue with Caleb Williams, or do you
Yeah.
find
Like
that
you would have
rookie who
been.
actually goes off like C.J. Stroud? Like, man, it's just so risky. Like, is the
Yeah.
risk really worth the reward, or is it
Before
like it's
they
going to bite you in the ass? Like, which one
before
is it?
before they made that trade and they were thinking about taking Bryce Young, like it's a good thing they didn't, because as bad of a season as the Bears had, they would have been worse off this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
way worse.
Oh yeah, facts. You know, this kind of scenario reminds me of the movie Draft Day. I'm sure all y'all have seen it. Of course, it depicts the Browns GM trying to like turn the franchise around, and their quarterback, who was known to be kind of problematic in terms of injury, was showing great strides to where he could be a great quarterback. And of course, we don't know how that had turned out because it's just about Draft Day. So this kind of reminds the Chicago Bears' current predicament and scenario reminds me of that movie. So the curious case would be, where do the Bears go? Would they go after Caleb Williams, who's got all this hype but has high bust qualities, if that makes any sense? Or do they go a different route and maybe pick, I don't know, a different offensive weapon, defense, etc.? It's going to be interesting to see how they play it out because they currently have the number one pick thanks to the Carolina Panthers.
Don't they also have like what? It's in the top 5, right? They have that one from the Panthers, and they have another one.
I think top 10. I think it's top 10.
It's their actual pick, like not from the Panthers. Also, that's in the top 10. I say with that number
I don't
one.
believe it's top 5.
Yeah, I think with that number one pick, I think you trade down and get like another number one pick in like a second for next year or whatever. If you're not gonna take a quarterback, which I don't think they should.
With DJ Moore, fucking trade it away and go get another solid receiver.
Yeah, I mean you could trade
bring in a rookie, like put a rookie underneath DJ Moore and like someone else who's solid, like wide receiver.
What's his name from Ohio State is going into the draft, so
but you don't need the number one overall pick for that. You trade that one for another number one pick. And
there's a lot of good receivers going into this draft, so.
Yeah, there's plenty. But like I said, I think I agree with Paulo wholeheartedly. Trade down, grab another wide receiver, 1 or 2 if possible, and then grab a rookie and put underneath DJ Moore and someone else. Like, I think you give Fields weapons like that, like you could really, really do some stuff. And then use the rest for freaking defensive picks. Like help that defensive side. Like the defense needs help.
Yeah.
Like if they really want to like turn it around next season, like they need help on defense. Like that's the only way you're going to support that
I
team.
do want to bring something up though, Paulo. When you said like if they would have drafted Bryce Young, it wouldn't have been any better for him. I'm wondering. Bryce Young isn't an amazing quarterback, at least not from what we've seen so far. But
Right.
how much of that is a Panthers problem? Because we've seen other quarterbacks that have been with them go to other places and do really well. Take Baker, for example.
Yeah.
Some of that is the Panthers themselves and not just
Yeah.
Bryce Young.
I agree. A lot of that is like it's his first year. You don't have a big sample size of what he can do in the NFL, and it's not like he had a lot to work with this year to begin with, on top of like coaching woes and all that. I don't think he's gonna be unless you get no, never mind. I'm not even gonna go down that road. He's not gonna be a great quarterback unless he goes to another team because the Panthers owner is the worst current owner there is. So he's not gonna have a stable coach GM situation for his entire tenure there. Because I mean David Tepper likes to tamper with stuff too much. Like he's just not gonna have a good team there. He's not gonna have what he needs to succeed. So maybe if he gets traded or goes somewhere else, like in a few years, he can be a good quarterback, but I don't see it happening with the Panthers, to be honest.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, same. The Panthers are a dumpster fire right now, but we'll talk about them in a minute.
But we never actually mentioned what our pick for the last place in the division was going to be. We all thought
Oh,
it was going
yeah.
to be the Packers. It ended
Yeah.
up being the Bears, but we really underestimated the Packers this season. They started off rough. Like that game they had against us, it pretty much was like the rest of their season. They started off really rough in that game, just like the beginning of the season, and as it kept going, they got better and better until they went into the playoffs, whooped the Cowboys in their home, went to San Francisco and actually put up a fight.
A really good
Yeah.
fight.
I think next season the Packers are going to be pretty legit in contention with the North next season. After what I saw, I'm like, oh yeah, the Packers are coming back. Here we go. Now the Lions gonna have a lot of trouble, as if they didn't have enough trouble with themselves. So
Yeah.
The
I remember the reasoning we had for the Packers. Like the Packers, I mean, it was going to be their head coach's first time without a future Hall of Fame quarterback. You got Jordan Love, who's essentially a rookie. You've got the youngest roster of any NFL team for just like all positions. A bunch of like rookie or second year receivers. Like it's just there wasn't a lot to like believe in there, but somehow like they made it work anyway.
it was surprising.
what is with the Packers and just even though they have a down year, they somehow find a way to get themselves back into relevancy. You know what I mean? Like it happened with after Brett Favre left them, and then Aaron Rodgers. He had a bit of a down year, but it was his first year playing. Then we all know what happened with Aaron Rodgers. Now he's gone, and we get Jordan Love. He started off rough, but somehow still made the playoffs. It's like, what
Yeah,
the
what
heck?
it's funny, like the Packers, no matter if they like win the division or make the playoffs or even they're like they almost make the playoffs, they've been relevant since like Brett Favre has been there. Like
Yeah,
they've gone from Brett Favre to Rodgers, like great quarterback to looking like could be another great quarterback one day. Like
in due
I
time,
don't
of
know how
course.
they do it.
I don't know either. That's what baffles me. It's like I admire the Packers for just doing that, like just finding ways to remain relevant, even if odds are against them and all that. It's just they just find new ways to just improve and adapt and find people they really need to fit in the missing roles. So, like kudos to them. But yeah, they surprised me greatly this season.
Yeah, everybody I think really underestimated the Packers.
Big
Yeah.
time. I know I did.
Yeah.
I thought that when we lost to them in that game against the Packers, the Saints versus Packers game where we blew a 10-point lead or
17.
something like that. 17, thank you. I thought, we're really gonna lose to these bums? No, they're not bums. They're legit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Turns
granted,
out they were better than us.
well, granted,
Very
we
much,
did
yeah.
lose Carr for like the
Yeah,
last quarter
I
of
know.
that game.
There were circumstances involved in that game,
It was
but
Winton
still,
time.
yeah.
A lot of that could be ownership for the Packers, though, because like that's the one of, if not the most storied NFL franchise. Like, there's a lot of
Mhm.
stakes and reputation to think about, and I don't know how long that the current like ownership family has had that team, but like
I
it
don't know
seems
either.
like they understand like they have to like appease their fans and stuff. These
Yeah.
are like generational fans.
Like, why do you think the Super Bowl trophy is named after Vince Lombardi, aka the Packers' greatest head coach in NFL history?
Well, weren't they also the first team to win a Super Bowl?
Yes.
There you go.
They,
I believe
yeah,
so,
I think they won the first 2 or 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's why the trophy's named the Lombardi Trophy.
Yep. Very first Super Bowl matchup was between the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Green Bay Packers won it.
Oy.
Yeah.
Well, we got one
Moving on.
division left, and y'all know what it is.
the worst
NFC
division in football.
NFC South.
I have a lot to say about this one.
Oh, how
And, of
wrong we
course,
were.
We were so wrong, and I'm furious that we're so wrong about this. And what makes me even more furious is that we let a bunch of bums in Tampa Bay come and win that division.
You say
And of course,
but
yeah, I know. They were technically better than us, but
not technically. They were better than us. They put up a fight in some of these games.
I know
They
that's
beat
what,
the Eagles.
I know that's what makes me upset.
Yeah.
Like we all picked the
Man
Saints to win
cannot
this division.
admit that the Buccaneers were actually good.
I hate the Bucks.
They were actually good.
But here's
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that it's our own fault that, and I'm talking about the Saints, of course. It was our own fault that we just did not play up to our potential, and a lot of factors happen. Of course, we have a dumb quarterback who just does not know how to like sit out and heal. We also have an incompetent coach who is stupid and dumb and moronic and doesn't take up to any ownership to his own flaws. We have an idiot of a general manager who just doesn't see the obvious issues with the team. Now, granted, we did hire a offensive coordinator, but that's a separate subject. But overall, the team just played flat out pathetic, and we have nothing but our own selves to blame. We
And we
shot
didn't
ourselves in the foot.
We didn't say it, but we did pick the Saints to win the division after the preseason stuff we saw because they actually looked good then. It ended up being the
Yeah.
Buccaneers, but
We did
was
pick the
sad.
Saints, and to kind of bounce off what Chris just said, I do like obviously we were wrong. We're not trying to like say we were right, but I do agree. I do still agree with what we said when we were making these picks that the division was ours unless we gave it away. The problem
It was ours to
we
win.
gave it away. Yeah, it was ours. Yeah,
Yeah, we
it's just like
literally
we
gave
could have had
away.
it. We just didn't want it enough.
Yep.
Nope. And by the time we wanted enough, oh, guess what? Season's over. You wasted the entire 17 game schedule to finally get your minds right and start winning games when they were needed most and counted the most, and you lost it. So that's
Feels
on
like
you,
it's been like that
Saints.
the past few years, where we don't lock in until like the last 2 games. And then
Literally.
we don't get it just because we let it get to a point where if one of our division rivals wins their game, then we're out. Like, we shouldn't be letting it get to that point, but we have like I think 2 years in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
Man. From a football perspective, I give credit to the Bucks because they obviously were better than us, despite that both teams did finish with 9-8 records, but that doesn't really matter. What really matters is they won the division because they had more division wins, and they played way better than us, had an earlier standpoint than we did. By the time we finally got our minds right and started winning games, they were already way ahead of us. So
Yep.
I hate to admit that.
But for the most part, this one, everybody but me picked the Panthers to be last place. I had a little bit of hope for the Panthers.
Shame on you.
I gave them benefit of the doubt. I thought they had the pieces to be a decent team at least. I was wrong. I said the Falcons were going to be last place, and they very well could have been with the crap they've been dealing with. Good Lord.
Yeah, I knew the Falcons were going to be any good. They showed some promise, and and there were areas throughout the season where they looked like they could be a competent, good team. But the one thing that was holding them back was their coach. And
Why
they did
you
the
got
right thing by-
Bijan doing punt returns? Let the
I know.
man run the ball.
Quarterback too. Like Desmond Ritter wasn't anything to write home about. He
No.
had a few good games, and then you put Heineke in there, and honestly, like it wasn't that much better.
Yeah, it's clear the Falcons just have no quarterback. But honestly, this has all come down to how former Atlanta head coach Arthur Smith coached that team, and it showed terribly. and with that being said, they did fire him at the end of the season after the Saints whooped them up the last game of the season, which I take great pride on to say screw the Falcons. But yeah, the Falcons, they just were not good enough. But like I said before, the coach held them down, and now they got rid of that. We'll see what they do with their new head coach, which I don't think they're going to do any better, honestly. That's a different subject for a different day. So, but in regards to the Panthers, I don't know, Jose, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand they made some good acquisitions from this previous offseason, but they're still the Panthers. They stunk. They have no O-line. Their quarterback is brand spanking new, and he got rattled up. They had no proper receivers. The defense was okay at best, but they just not good enough. Nothing about the Panthers spoke to me that they were at least a third place team.
The best way I
Yikes.
know to describe it is they have, think of it as a person like putting together a puzzle on a table. The pieces are all there, but the person putting the puzzle together is trying to slam all the pieces together in ways they shouldn't fit.
Mhm.
But that's where you're wrong, because the pieces aren't all there for the Panthers. Who else they got but Thielen?
Who was
Literally
it?
nobody.
Thielen, Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst, yeah.
They had
Hayden Hurst is
Miles
I don't know,
Sanders and Chuba
maybe
Hubbard both
retired.
did decent. Sanders kind of fell off a little bit, but Hubbard did pretty decent.
They did, but they don't like if you're gonna draft a quarterback, like you need more people to catch. Like Thielen's pretty good, and Hayden Hurst, sure, but like you need like
Well, they
who's
had someone to catch, but they traded him away to draft the quarterback. So
Yep.
yeah.
he
Well, I
literally
mean,
shot
there's
himself in the foot.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
there's the
we're gonna
catch
go get this
22 though, because
quarterback.
if
Yeah.
you didn't, then you wouldn't have the quarterback.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we're gonna go get this quarterback. He's gonna be our
That's the
franchise
thing, though.
quarterback. Cool.
They
what's his
would have
weapon?
had a
We're gonna
quarterback
send
because
him,
they had the other pick.
you know, like
Yeah.
we're gonna send him to our NFC rival, our wide receiver one, and we're not gonna have any like. And Adam Thielen like produced this season, like even with all the struggles, but I mean, age is creeping up on that man. Like he went through a lot of hits in Minnesota. I mean, he did what he could, but I mean, it comes a time like that's how much longer is that gonna last? Like, it's not gonna be like he's not gonna be that wide receiver for years.
What other pick are you talking about, Jose? Did they have the second overall pick? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
second was Texans. I think it was like the third.
Oh,
they still
well, then they would have.
Yeah, they were
Or no,
still
was
top
that-
three. They were
was-
top five.
Was it that or was it Anthony Richardson that got taken third?
Rich,
Uh,
no,
if
because we went. Will Anderson went third. And we went back to back into.
Oh, yeah,
three.
y'all had 2 and 3, so it must have been
Yeah.
4, I think.
Are you
I'd have
sure he
to
was
look
the
and
number
see.
one overall pick? I thought he was number one.
Who?
No, number 1 was Bryce Young.
Young.
Bryce Young was
Young.
number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to
Who we
figure out
talking
what
about?
pick they had before
The
they
Bears,
traded.
when they traded
Oh.
with the Bears, what pick did the Panthers have before that? Because the Panthers,
Okay, gotcha.
like,
Yeah, I don't remember.
They still could have had a quarterback.
Yeah, they could have
but
had a
like
good
I
quarterback.
get they wouldn't have had their run of the mill though.
Yeah, I don't remember who they had. I'm trying to find it, but
yeah, I can't remember.
all it keeps
Yeah, me
bringing
neither.
up is the whole trade with the Bears.
Well, that's what it
Oh,
was.
they had the ninth. They had the ninth overall.
Mm.
So yeah,
Okay.
they potentially could have missed out on.
They would have
maybe
missed out on all
Richardson.
the big
Yeah.
ones. I think they could have got like O'Connell or
Probably
somebody.
like Will Levis.
Yeah.
Will Levis. Yeah.
Still though,
Like I get it. Like if you're gonna build your franchise around a guy for the next however many years, you kind of want to be
Yeah,
able
'cause
to pick, not just get stuck with whoever's left. But it just didn't work out.
still they should have like
Yeah, because Anthony Richardson went fourth. So even if they would have stayed where they were, I mean, you missed out on 3 quarterbacks already, who were
Yeah.
the top 3 quarterbacks for the draft.
just a rough situation for the Panthers.
I blame their
Yeah.
owner for that, honestly.
Yeah,
He had no business
Same.
firing Frank Reich like 6 weeks into the season. Like, I get that it's not going well, but look at the team. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? You should have just
Yeah,
let
but in the
him go
yeah,
for
but
like
in the
the
past,
season.
Frank Reich hasn't done much to even begin with either. So,
He
like,
hasn't, but like this is the same owner that signed Matt Rule. Like he's still paying Matt Rule, even though he hasn't been there for a few years, and he's still going to be paying Frank Reich for like the next 4 years. Stop signing coaches to like 4-year contracts and then
yeah,
cutting them in like year one. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. The Panthers, I think, are going to be in a mess for a long time unless they have some miracle happen to them. But I just don't see the Panthers being relevant anytime soon for the foreseeable future.
God.
No, I imagine it's going to be the division's going to be similar next year, where it's going to be Panthers in last, and then everybody else trying to claw for first.
Yeah.
yeah. Because even if they would have stayed at 9, like the Eagles picked Jalen Carter, so yeah, you'd have had to go after somebody. The next quarterback that was taken was. I'm
That
still
would be
scrolling.
Levis, right?
Yeah, I think the next one was Levis. I think you're right. Because it went Bryce Young, then Stroud, then Richardson, and then no more quarterbacks for the whole first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Will Levis was
The
like a
next-
second round pick.
Yeah, Levis was second,
Yeah.
maybe. 'Cause I'm still,
Well, with
yeah.
that being said,
Jake Hayner,
Jake Hayner.
Yeah,
and Stetson Bennett in round 4. But I thought Will Levis was second or third round.
I could have swore he was second round because I remember that being like a talking point that he had dropped to the second round.
Yeah,
Mayonnaise
Levis went
man.
at pick 33. So you could have grabbed Stetson Bennett or Will Levis at 9 and had maybe a better option.
Or Max Duggan.
Well, not with how things went with Stetson Bennett.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's hindsight, right? I mean, no one knew about that until after the draft and after preseason.
Yeah,
Like that wasn't a thing until after all of that. Yeah, Max Dugan.
that's
like,
true.
the
That's
Chargers
true,
cut
but like,
Dugan, like Jose's right. Like, I mean, I forgot all about Dugan because of his issues, but yeah, I mean, you had some other options, you know. But of course, when these analysis talk about these quarterbacks or receivers or whatever, like constantly, like these teams are so enticed in that, like they get so caught up in it because that's who's getting the publicity prior to the draft. So
Yeah. But let's
Yeah.
also not forget the quarterback that they had that they never even gave a chance to.
oh my
Matt
goodness, I feel
Corral.
like you always bring this up.
Yes.
Whatever happened to
And
Matt
that's-
Corral?
yeah, where's Matt Corral at now,
I'll-
Jose?
Oh,
They
I'll-
let
yeah.
him go. Nobody has
hold
him.
up.
All right then.
Yeah, he
I'll
working
tell you
at
who
Golden
has him.
Corral now. Drop it.
Yeah, for
Hold
real.
up. Hold up. I know where he's at.
Where?
He's currently just signed with a team in the UFL League, the Spring
yeah.
Football League. But before that, he was with the Patriots for a short time, but then he sadly disappeared off the face of the earth. But
Jose
see,
wants to continue to bring
Yeah,
this
you
man up.
remember that?
And
You remember when he got signed by the Patriots, and the Patriots they were dismal. They were in disarray, and he
Yeah.
still couldn't keep
still
on that
got
team.
cut.
Like,
You
what's
couldn't take
going
a
on?
job from Mac Jones. You couldn't
Well,
take it
see-
from what's his name, like, and they still cut him. So what does that really say about like Matt Corral? Like,
Where did
Well,
Matt
there's
Corral
a-
come from? Why is
Ole
Jose?
Miss.
Why
Ole
Jose? Why
Miss.
are you? Why
Ole
are you so
Miss.
big on Matt Corral?
The only
Ole Miss
reason
won.
is because they drafted him like early. I think it was 2 years ago now.
yeah,
And he played like maybe 1 or 2 games and got hurt, and they just tossed him aside after that. He came back this season, and I think this season was supposed to be the time he was the starter, and they drafted Bryce Young and just tossed him aside. He never got a proper chance.
Hey, I don't
Yeah.
remember you complaining last year when Jameis Winston got hurt and they
But,
left Andy
Jose-
Dalton in.
Oh yeah. He
Yeah,
was.
but-
Well, they said he drafted him early. They picked him in the 3rd round. I mean, is that what we're considering early? Because a 3rd round pick is not early, in my opinion, for a quarterback. By the 3rd round,
That's
you're
not
looking at
that early
receivers,
to
running
me
backs,
either.
and defensive ends. That's what I'm
Mm.
saying. Like by that time, you're looking for other options. You're not really looking at quarterback, unless you've got a QB1 that you're going to hold on to for years, and you just kind of want someone to study. Kind of like they did with Hayner and Dugan and stuff. But like round 3 does not seem early for me for a quarterback. It seems a
Regardless of
little
that,
late.
though, I still think they should have gave him a shot because, like, me and Chris have both watched him play in college. He wasn't a bad quarterback.
Okay, and
he's a
neither was
damn good
Manziel.
quarterback.
Neither was Manziel.
Yeah,
Look what
but
happened. He got
Manziel
sued.
had other problems.
It doesn't matter though. Like you can be a damn good player in collegiate and get to the NFL and just get rocked and not be able to keep up. Like we see it time and time again.
I know. So I will speak on his behalf because I watched him play for my Ole Miss Rebs, and he was phenomenal. I thought I thought if any team were to pick him up, even if he wasn't starting right away, he'd at least learn from the best, and I think he had a shot to be a really good quarterback. But what happened?
Ooh,
Those ding dongs in Carolina, they drafted him. They did absolutely nothing with him. And now, of course, he did get injured, so we all know that. But still, they did not give him a proper shot. And it was just like a slap to the face.
That is more of what I am upset with them about
See-
is they never gave him a shot.
That's the thing, though. 3rd round quarterbacks aren't drafted to be given a shot.
and they
They're
did.
drafted to be.
They did
They're
give him a shot.
drafted-
He started 2 games and got hurt.
Yeah.
The end. Like he had a
Brock
shot,
Pur-
but unfortunately he got hurt. The end.
It's like when we drafted Jake Hayner. I don't want him to have
Did
a
y'all
shot.
really think he was going to start over Winton or Carr? No.
I didn't expect Jake Heiner to start in the first place.
No, because we had other quarterbacks. But
Max
at the
Duggan.
time,
Duggan is another.
well, yeah, because he got put on a team with Justin Herbert. You think
But
he's
that's what
going
I'm
to
saying.
start?
But let's look at college. He killed it at TCU, and he's not going to get the chance to start. So what does it matter?
I'm still upset about that too.
Upset at who?
Hey,
Well,
Paulo
okay,
does
what would
not
you have done
understand.
differently?
what would
Chargers,
I
okay,
have done
Chargers
differently?
draft Dugan. What would you do?
Nothing. There's nothing you can do there. He got drafted by a team that he was never going to get to play on.
Then what you upset about? That's the luck of the draw. That's life.
That's what upsets me about it is the fact that he got put on a team where he's never going to get to start. He's never going to get his chance. Meanwhile, people like Stetson Bennett, who I believe Dugan was the better quarterback, honestly. If he didn't have his problems, probably would have started for a game or 2 this year.
I mean, sure, but if Dugan was better than Easton Stick, he would have that spot, and he would have started for most of the year. But it didn't happen.
Yeah, and you're saying Stetson Bennett would have started. Yeah, when Matt Stafford was out. But guess what? Matt Stafford comes back healthy. Where does Bennett go? back to the bench because he is not better than Stafford. So what would it have mattered? You really think that Bennett was going to perform well enough to put Stafford on the bench?
Let's be real here, Will. How many years do you think Stafford has left in him?
A couple, 2 to 3, whatever his contract is. He is going to play until that contract runs out. And I guarantee
I
you
agree.
he's still going to play. Someone will still pick him up at the if he continues to play at the level he played this year and can stay healthy or somewhat healthy, because we have seen him fight through adversity going back to Detroit, broken collarbone, still goes in, wins that game. This season has health issues, still plays, still wins game. You're telling me a team will not pick him up? I doubt that. He is going to play until he literally can't. Like, in my opinion, he is going to play until they take him off that field and he is no longer able to. That man is not going to retire unless he just has to.
I agree with the whole like good quarterbacks like not getting their shot type of thing. Like I like Jake Browning. I kind of want him to get a shot. He's not gonna get it on the Bengals. When Burrow comes back, that's his job. And with all the rookies and like young quarterbacks and even this upcoming draft, he's probably not gonna get a shot on another team either. But
No,
the thing with Dugan is though, like Dugan could have had that. I remember when we were talking about this, like when him and Stick were like dueling it out for the second place job and Stick won. Like that, I mean, to me, that was that.
yeah.
Like he
And
had a shot to
unfortunately,
be the
Stick just
backup.
won it. He won it fair and square. Like, he outdueled him. And Dugan was great in college, but it got outdueled.
Yeah. He could have started. He could have. I don't
But
know.
that's
He
the
could have
issue
been the
with
starter for the Chargers for like more than half the season this year if he
but
would have
that's the
had that
issue
spot.
with half the NFL, maybe a little more than half. They already have potentially their franchise quarterbacks. So you're already down to 16 teams, maybe less than 16 teams, where these quarterbacks have a chance. Maybe, if not less than that. And I mean, how many quarterbacks enter the draft every year that are great in college that are just going to be backups?
It really
Yeah.
takes just like the luck of the draw, honestly, because so many teams have got their guy. Like you need that guy to get hurt or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Brady. They had just signed what's his face to what a 4-year contract when Brady got drafted, and then a Bledsoe, and it
Bledsoe,
just so
yeah.
happened that Bledsoe went down in the first like couple games.
Alex Smith.
Yeah,
Like, it happens.
Eh. Still, I don't like it.
Neither do I.
Yeah, it's but I mean, when these players go into the draft, when they go into the college with these scholarships, they know the percentage, they know the chance of them being drafted, they know the chance of them being even slimmer of them actually getting to start. Like, it's just they know what they're getting themselves into. That's why you see so many college players and hear about them going back to school, especially backups. You see so many stories of them finishing out degrees because they know of the possibility after 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, but my thing with the Panthers was that like they didn't have an actual quarterback at the time. They were rotating quarterbacks for the past couple years constantly, and still never gave that man a shot.
I mean, like you said though, like whoever he was backing up got hurt, and then he got hurt. So I mean, when the start, like if you don't see anything from your third string guy, like enough to make you think like, oh, he's the guy, then the
Yeah.
starter comes back and he gets the
Oh.
job back.
And let's
Was-
not act like
well-
it's been years. He got drafted in 22, got hurt in 22, and then they drafted Young this year. So I mean, it's only been 2 years. So I mean,
Well,
you're
one
right.
of
They
the
just rotated, but they
the
got hurt
thing-
again, and they made other plans.
the thing about it is I don't think he actually got hurt in a game. I think he got hurt before the season started, like within a week or
I-
two of the start of the season.
Yeah, he got hurt. He tore his ACL in practice. He never started in a game, not even a preseason game for that matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's an ACL injury. I mean, we see how hard those are to come back from. And maybe they just didn't feel like he could do it. Or they saw him and was like, yeah, that's just not an option anymore.
I still think they just screwed him over. Like, just you didn't bother to give him one more shot, and that's it.
You're biased to begin with.
I might be biased, but it's the facts.
Yeah. Anyway, after that, like
30-minute
20-something.
tangent.
Yeah. That was.
Yeah, we got way off topic.
Jeez. That's all of our stuff though from the first episode. Like I said, it's a mixed bag. Some things right and some things very, very wrong. I'm looking at you
Very
two,
much so.
Will and Chris.
And Paulo. And Paulo.
Yes, and Paulo, he's not excused.
Paulo AFK.
Paulo
He's
disappeared.
gone.
Paulo's
He went to get his-
smashing his head against the window right now.
He went to get his Chick-fil-A.
God. We really went off on like a 20-something minute tangent there. Because God, we're well over an hour now.
Mhm.
Are we still recording?
Yes.
Oh,
We haven't done the sign off. We need Paulo for
Oh.
that.
Well,
is
who knows
true.
how long we'll be waiting, so someone else is going to have to come up with a sign off.
Not it.
so long.
Not it.
Farewell.
All right. We will I guess we'll be back for what? The draft?
We'll
Yeah, which-
reconvene prior to the draft.
Yeah,
and throughout
we'll
the
have
draft.
to get some improvements for the next season. But that will
Yes.
end season 1 of the podcast. We will return for the draft and season 2.
Let's go.
What the heck
We
was
hope-
that?
What? Yeah, what was that?
Who just broke a pack of spaghetti noodles?
It is my dinner.
Oh,
It's pasta.
Dang, you eating them raw?
Mamma
No,
mia.
They're in a plastic container.
You're supposed to cook them first.
No, it's already cooked
Goofball.
from this.
It
from a
didn't
restaurant.
sound like they was already cooked.
Well, it's got one of those plastic lids, like a to-go container.
Hmm.
It's got Cajun shrimp and andouille sausage.
Hmm. Sus.
Well, good night, everyone.